Happy Monday, my dear listeners. I hope you are doing fantastic on this beautiful day. I'm sure it's going to be beautiful here in the Midwest. It's been snowing a lot, so it'll probably be doing that again, or at least just cold. It's been very cold too, so. Today is Monday. You know what that means? That means we have a single, longer story, and that also means that the story will not be censored in any way, shape, or form, so minor content warning. Language will not be censored, graphic imagery, not censored, that kind of thing. Just, I like to keep this kind of art integral, maintained in its entirety. I do censor my other videos to some extent, like the paranormal collections, all those. I do change any harsh language to be a little more family friendly. I only do so because those are my majority of what my channel is, and I'd rather have it be safer content than my every once a week Monday videos. So, all that said, this story is titled, Have You Touched Minds with Someone You Love? And it is apparently part of a series, so there's that. The user that wrote this is WeirdBryceGuy. Check him out on Reddit. He writes a lot of stories. He is a very avid writer, and he has a very good talent for this kind of stuff, so I'm hoping he maintains this and keeps going with it, because I would love to read more of his stuff. So without further delay, this is Have You Touched Minds with Someone You Love? A no-sleep story by WeirdBryceGuy. Enjoy. I'm sure you've done it. You know, the thing where you put your forehead to your dogs, your friends, family members, etc., and try to transfer a thought to them. An attempt at a sort of half-telepathy, hoping in that childish way that the physical contact of your heads is all that's needed for it to work. Well, it did sort of work when my friend and I tried. We were hanging out in my room, completely sober, incredibly bored, and had been talking about our respective childhoods. He grew up across the country in Massachusetts and moved to my town here in Nevada a few years ago. Despite the difference of upbringing and the considerable distance apart, we shared one thing in common. The attempt to send thoughts to someone else by touching foreheads. I did it with friends, my dog, my sister, all to no avail. He with his cat and his dad. We both had been children, prepubescent, and hadn't tried again since those youthful attempts. I was the first to propose we try again, as young adults, just for the hell of it. We were both guys, and it felt a little weird to be so close together, but we said our precautionary, no homos, and all was well. There's something I must explain before continuing the story. Call it a tangent, but one that will become immediately relevant later on. My friend, for as long as I've known him, has exhibited symptoms of what I suspect to be at least one mental illness. I'm not saying he's psychiatrically unstable, and he hasn't demonstrated any behavior that I would call harmful to himself or others, but he certainly has eccentricities. Barely perceptible mannerisms, which were acutely disturbing when I first noticed them. I never brought them up, whatever they were, and neither did he. But Tristan, my friend, definitely has some sort of aberrant mental condition. Well, Tristan and I touched heads, and so as to avoid a collision of thoughts that could potentially ruin the half-joking experiment, I decided that I should try to transmit something first. I thought, hey dude, what's up? And sent it to him, at least to the best of my ability. After a few seconds, he grinned and said I looked like an idiot, and that he hadn't received anything. I gave him a slight headbutt and told him to try sending something else. He disconnected, and then retouched his head to mine, and presumably tried to send something. I didn't get anything, and we summarily decided it was not going to work. I hadn't expected anything to actually happen, and saw it more as a dumb fun thing to do while bored with my friend. We had been sitting on the floor at the time, and I rose from my seated position. I heard a slight whisper. I asked Tristan what he had said, and he responded that he hadn't said anything. I dismissed it, asked if he was hungry, he confirmed that he was, and then went downstairs to make some pizza rolls. He stayed upstairs, browsing Facebook on his phone. While waiting for the pizza rolls to cook, I heard another whisper, this time a bit louder and seemingly nearer than the last. I tried to really focus on what I was hearing, though all I could understand was the sentence, I need to get out. It sounded panicked, and as if spoken by a man considerably older than myself. The moment I fully comprehended the sentence, the whispering stopped, and I was left with that unsettling statement repeating in my mind. The voice sounded familiar, though I'll say now that it was not Tristan's. At this point in my story, I think it's best to tell you something else about my friend Tristan. Something I don't think even he knows about himself. When he first moved here from New England, on that very first day, he arrived with his mother, father, and another person. This other person kept close to Tristan, following him wherever the young boy went. Tristan's parents never spoke to the man, at least not that I'd seen, but they did acknowledge his presence, avoiding him when he passed them, or leading Tristan to him when their son wandered off. I had been 7 at the time, and I assumed the man to be an uncle, babysitter, or just some other trusted adult figure. I never saw the man again after that first day of unpacking, and quickly forgot about him until that moment in the kitchen. I said that I never heard Tristan's parents speak to the man, but I had heard him speak to Tristan in a soft yet certain and mildly authoritative voice, perhaps as a wise man of some esoteric knowledge who would speak to his pupils. To whatever the man had said, Tristan responded perceptively to the best of the child's ability. Standing there in the kitchen trying to make sense of the distressed whisper that echoed in my mind, I recalled the man with his sage-like voice and knew with some unreal certainty that the whisper had inexplicably come from him. The pizza rolls finished cooking, and I loaded them onto a plate and brought them upstairs. Tristan was sitting in the chair I used to play video games, watching a video on his phone. I handed him the plate, taking a few rolls off for myself, and as his hand grasped the plate, I again heard those eerie whispers. "If you won't let me out, I'll take over." My hand let go of the plate, sending one end over plummeting downwards, spilling the pizza rolls all over the floor. Tristan, apparently still unaware of the whispering, called out, "Dude, what the fuck?" and scrambled to pick up the food. I stood there, nearly petrified, trying to process what I had just heard. Someone, somewhere, was trapped within something, and had decided to enact some plan of taking control over their imprisonment. I'm not a stupid person, at least not in issues of what I suppose you'd call deduction, and even then, it was pretty obvious who was trapped and in where. I hadn't the faintest idea of how exactly the man was locked within the confines of Tristan's mind, or why, but I knew at that moment he was in there. Whether or not Tristan knew this man was locked within him, I couldn't tell you, and I still can't. But I at least now know something about the man. He wasn't real. Not as you and I believe ourselves to be. But more on that later. So, not for nothing, but that was one hell of a teaser at the end. And I'm slightly upset at the writer, at the author, for it ending like that. However, I will tell you, there is a part 2 at least. So I'm also going to contact the author and ask if I can narrate the second part of this as well, because I would like to see it concluded. I don't think the second part actually concludes the story, but it gives a little more information, so I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did enjoy, please consider giving it a thumbs up, liking the video. That helps a ton. If you also enjoyed the video and enjoy my narrations, I have tons of other videos that you can watch, and you can also subscribe to the channel. Click the little bell thingy. That will let you know whenever I post a new video. I post videos typically on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. However, that may be ramping up some soon. We'll see. Also, if you feel so bold, please consider leaving me a comment. I would love to hear from you, and I will try to reply to everybody that I can. You can also find all these social media links for me down in the description. Stalk me all over the internet. That's fine. I don't care. Please do. Just talk to me. The story is also sourced in the description below, so you can check that out because this author is fantastic. Go check out his other stuff. With all that said, I hope you have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed this video. But alas, dear reader, until next time, sleep well.